Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into a topic that's really captured the attention of the Formula One world. And this deep dive, it originates from some fantastic insights shared over at F1 blogs. If you're not already familiar with their content, seriously, consider this your perfect introduction to their channel. Great stuff over there. Anyway, we're going to unpack a situation that's seen a truly promising F1 career hit a significant snag.
Right.
We're talking about Carlos Sainz's highly anticipated move to Williams F1. I'm really eager to help us peel back the layers and, understand what's truly going on behind these recent headlines.
And I'm here to help connect those dots, cut through some of the noise, and really dig into the nuances of this developing story. Our mission today is really to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight. We want to make sure you get the full, informed picture of Sainz's surprisingly challenging first-half season at Williams.
Okay, let's unpack this out. Carlos Sainz. I mean, a driver widely considered world-class, right? He was, quite literally, hot property after his Ferrari exit. Multiple teams were aggressively pursuing him, yet he ultimately chose Williams. He was reportedly convinced by their long-term project, stepping in as, a key figurehead of their revival efforts. So what was the grand expectation for this partnership? And, how is the reality actually measured up on track?
Well, what's truly striking here is just the stark contrast, between those high expectations and the current reality. Sainz himself has described his season as, and I quote, everything but good. Instead of leading the Williams charge like everyone anticipated, he currently sits 15th in the standings, just 13 points. At the halfway mark of 2025, I mean, this is quite a dramatic fall from grace. It really is. It could very well be his worst F1 season since his rookie year back in 2015, if this trend continues. Meanwhile, his teammate, ALBON, he's performing exceptionally well, sitting 8th with 46 points. He's effectively winning F1's unofficial Class B fight, that intense battle among teams outside the top four.
Wow, that's a massive points disparity. I mean, far beyond what anyone might have predicted, surely. What precisely is driving that gap between two drivers in the same car?
Well, stepping back for a moment, while the overall average record, if you look at it closely, indicates Sainz has trailed Albon by very little, the consistency and, many more importantly, the recent trends, they're the real concern here. Albon has managed to secure a small but decisive advantage in almost every performance area.
So Albon clearly has the edge in qualifying consistency.
Right.
But you also noted the overall average difference is tiny. How do we reconcile that? Is the recent trend truly more significant than the overall average here, or are we perhaps, overstating it a bit?
No, that's a crucial point, and it speaks to the hidden narrative within the data, I think. Look, Albon has made it to Q3, that final qualifying session, 7 times in 12 attempts in main qualifying, plus he did it twice in sprint qualifying sessions. Now compare that to Sainz. He's got 5 main Q3 appearances and 0 in the sprint format. What's even more telling, maybe, is Albon has only been eliminated in Q1 once. At that time, it was actually due to an FIA error where he genuinely should have progressed. Sainz, on the other hand, he's been knocked out in Q1 3 times. And all of those were within the last 5 events. That includes a badly impeded run in Canada that, severely impacted his time.
Okay, I see.
Now, to your point about the overall average, yes, on average, Sainz has been just 0.07 of a second slower than Albon in Q1. 400ths in Q2 and 600ths in Q3. On the occasions, both cars have actually made it that far. Looking at their 23 shared qualifying segments, Albon was faster 13 times the Sainz's 10. So yeah, the overall picture looks close. However, and this is the key thing, the critical takeaway is the recent trend. Sainz has been slower in 6 of the last 7 qualifying segments they've both participated in. And his average deficit, it's been creeping up to over 0.2 of a second. This includes a notable, you could call it a drubbing in Monaco Q2. He explicitly stated afterwards he felt he'd gone back 7 places just trying to adapt his driving style and set up to what the Williams demands. It clearly suggests a pattern, one that he's struggling to rectify. And those recent struggles are, frankly, outweighing the earlier closeness.
It certainly sounds like it's not just about raw pace or adapting to the car, though. The source material from F1 blogs paints a picture of some pretty woeful luck for Sainz, too. To what extent can we truly separate his performance from the sheer bad luck he's reportedly experienced? Is it just, convenient to blame external factors?
That's an excellent question, and it's certainly a mix, no doubt about it. While Sainz himself has acknowledged his own adaptation challenges, his season has indeed been plagued by truly unfortunate incidents. things outside his control. And those have undoubtedly exaggerated the gap to Albon. I mean, he crashed out of the opener in the wet on the very first lap in Australia. Gone. Then accident damage forced his retirement in Bahrain. And perhaps most frustratingly for him, he didn't even make the start of the Grand Prix in Austria. That was due to a brake problem that led to a rather dramatic fire. Just couldn't catch a brake.
Right. And here's where it gets even more complicated, it seems. The most recent race at Silverstone sounds like it was the final exasperating straw for him.
Absolutely. That race left Sainz utterly exasperated, and you can see why. It felt so symptomatic of his season so far. He was attacking Leclerc, a fellow midfield runner and his old Ferrari teammate for 8th place. He was pressuring him on slicks on a damp line going into that fast stow right-hander. Now, when Leclerc wobbled and slid wide, Sainz should have just, picked up the pieces, moved into the points. Simple. But Sainz was so far alongside the Ferrari that Leclerc actually took Sainz with him, pushed him right out of the points, finishing outside the points as a result. Well, it was well short of what Sainz deserved that day. And unfortunately, it's kind of indicative of how his first season at Williams is constantly being undermined by different, often unrelated issues. Think about it. He scored just 1 point in the last 4 races. 1. And he admitted after Silverstone that he's a bit fed up that something always happens out of his control. He added, "I welcome this 2-week break to see if something changes in my life so we can start having an F1 season because this has been everything but good so far." You can almost hear the sigh of exasperation in his voice there, can't you?
Yeah.
He's clearly finding it extremely frustrating, depressing even, to put in so much work only to suffer from things completely out of his control.
Yeah, you really feel for him there. So, given all this, what does this bumpy ride mean for Williams as a team? Is Sainz just having a terrible run of luck? Or is the team itself contributing to this slump in a significant way?
This raises an important question, doesn't it, about shared responsibility. The first half of Williams' 2025 season has actually unfolded in 2 quite contrasting parts. It's interesting. The initial 8 races, up to and including Monaco, were incredibly prolific for them. They yielded 54 points. That's more than double the next best midfield team at that stage. Williams was, for a time, a comfortable 5th in the championship, looking pretty good.
Okay, and even during that mighty start you just described, was Sainz really pulling his weight then? Or was he already showing signs of struggling even when the team was flying high?
Well, even then, Sainz wasn't particularly happy or, let's say, comfortable in the car. He was very vocal about needing time to adapt, specifically struggling with an inherent limitation this generation of Williams car has had. It's in the long corners that combine steering lock and braking on entry. He found that his driving style, the one honed over years at Ferrari, was actually exaggerating this particular limitation, making it worse for him. So while he was undeniably less competitive than Albon during this phase, he was also genuinely unlucky not to score bigger points hauls. There was damage in Bahrain, and then operational or race circumstances limited him in Miami and Imola, where honestly bigger scores were definitely possible.
Right. But then Williams' performance since Monaco seems to have shifted dramatically. It's almost mirrored Sainz's own recent struggles. What happened there?
Yeah, indeed. It's quite a shift. Since Monaco, Williams has struggled for, a variety of reasons. Now, while it's tempting to link this to the FLUCTUATIng clampdown that happened around the Spanish Grand Prix in June, that recent rule clarification on aerodynamic component flexibility, correlation doesn't always equal causation, right? And other factors definitely complicate the picture. Williams has faced strategic missteps, some reliability problems too, like those brake cooling issues on Sainz'S car. Or there was that internal communication problem causing Albon's back-to-back retirements in Canada and Austria. And simply, look, they've been put under more pressure from rivals who have continued to develop their cars effectively.
And a major strategic choice by Williams plays right into this dynamic, doesn't it? It's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yes, exactly. This is a crucial point that, honestly, can't be overstated. Williams made a deliberate, quite early switch to focus almost entirely on their 2026 car. This is because of the all-new technical regulations coming next year, which will fundamentally change car design. It's a huge reset. It's a strategy Williams knew could mean sacrificing better 2025 results, all for the hope of building a stronger foundation for several seasons to follow under the new rules. Meanwhile, direct rivals like Aston Martin and Sauber, who, let's not forget, even managed to grab a podium at Silverstone with Nico Hülkenberg, they've brought significant upgrades. That has definitely shifted the midfield pecking order in this incredibly condensed field. Williams has effectively been outdeveloped by its rivals in the second part of the season so far.
So drawing all these threads together then, it really seems like Sainz's personal struggles, with adaptation and just a rather brutal run of bad luck, They precisely intersected with Williams' own strategic choices and their fluctuating performance levels. It's a classic case of a perfect storm, isn't it? Just everything going wrong at once.
Precisely. That sums it up well. This much-vaunted partnership, which, let's be honest, everyone had such high hopes for, it was meant to elevate both the driver and the team. Now, while Sainz has openly acknowledged his own performance hasn't consistently been at its absolute best, he's admitted that. The external factors, the bad luck, and the team's deliberate pivot towards 2026 development have undoubtedly compounded his already challenging season. There is apparently one final Williams upgrade coming later this season, but whether it can truly help them recover their early 2025 peak performance, well, that's unclear. Both Sainz and Williams really need to be at the absolute top of their game to make the most of whatever potential is left in this car. And that's something that, as we've just discussed, simply hasn't happened often enough in this first half of the year.
So what this deep dive truly reveals isn't just one driver's tough season, is it? It feels like a critical lesson. Even world-class talent can be undermined when personal adaptation challenges collide head-on with a team's strategic long game and, frankly, a cruel streak of bad luck. It's a stark reminder, really, of the delicate, high-stakes ecosystem in Formula One, where success is rarely just down to one single factor.
Yeah, absolutely. And this raises an important question for you, our listener, to think about. Given Williams' clear focus on 2026 and the mounting challenges Sainz has faced, what does this tell us about that delicate balance between a driver's immediate performance needs and a team's long-term vision in Formula One? Will Sainz be able to turn this around, or is this tough early season actually a sign of things to come for him at Williams? It's certainly a lot for both of them, driver and team, to consider moving forward.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the recent news surrounding Carlos Sainz and Williams. We really hope you feel much more informed now about the nuances of this complex and, let's face it, quite fascinating story. And remember, for more great content like the source material we use for today's deep dive, make sure you check out and subscribe to the F1 Blogs channel. They do fantastic work over there, and we highly recommend them. We'll be back soon with another deep dive.